Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ryan and Grant for another episode of Grant Teach Me Something. And I just want to make one thing abundantly clear, that I, Ryan Harper, am affiliated with Propelio, and Grant Kemp is not. He is with CreativeCashFlow.com, and this is a weekly partnership between the two of us to bring you all the greatest content that we can in the owner finance sub-2 wrap world. Is that what you wanted?
Oh my gosh. So I've had enough people that think that I work for Propelio, and I was like, hey, you think that we can just throw in, this is a weekly partnership between CreativeCashFlow.com and Propelio? He's like, oh, so you hate us? So you don't want to... I'm just pointing out that CreativeCashFlow.com and Propelio are two separate companies, and we are coming together because we share our why.
They get it.
And that is, this was a wonderful segue that you just got in the way of. Thanks a lot, Rai.
Yeah.
Because we share our why, and that's exactly what we're talking about today, is what is your why? The why is so ever incredibly important behind what we do. And the reason why you're able to see partnerships like this work out so well with Creative Cashflow and Propelio, and the reason why you're able to see anybody that's ever able to align with somebody else and get things working towards a better goal, is because they share their why.
And on top of that, it goes back into this industry of abundance versus competition. Because one day you could be competitive, one day you could be partnerships, weekly you could work together. I know there's a deal that we're working on, Daniel and I, on the side, that Grant just last week was like, oh crap, I should have taken a lunch. Because he saw the deal, he saw what nobody else saw, he saw that what Daniel saw. We're not going to get into that. But anyway, he can joke about, crap, I should have taken a lunch that day. And on that case, we were competitors. Yeah. But who cares?
Well, but even to that point, I was actually about to put an offer in, and Ryan jokingly put out, Daniel's working on this, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if he's already got it, I'm cool. I just backed off at that point in time, you know? Yeah. But the reason why I'm talking so heavily about our why is that in the world of marketing, in the world of creating your marketing copy, knowing your why is going to be so ever important in getting a good piece of copy out there. And copy, just for those of you outside of the marketing world, copy is going to be what you call anything written. Any kind of written word that is a marketing piece is called copy. If it's a video piece that's for marketing, it's going to be called creative. So yeah, the copy is going to be kind of your script, what's being said, that kind of stuff. So as you guys are putting your mailer pieces together, or your
digital
marketing, or whatever that might be, any kind of words that are out there, you have to understand what your why is, and you have to understand what your prospective client / partner / whoever's why is, and try to align those two to magically melt.
And this is, and I'll make a bold statement by saying this is probably going to be one of the most important videos we've done in the 33 so far of the Grant Teach Me Somethings. And the reason I say that is, if you know me offline, I've been talking about LinkedIn, I've been talking about digital, you see we do the videos, and you know Ryan personally hates copy. Not that I'm not good at it, it's just it takes time, you have to think about it, and I'm more of a big old sledgehammer, let me knock down the wall. I don't want to get all engineering and really tweak the wall. And that's what copy is. You really have to get into the nitty gritty and again, what's the message you're trying to convey, who's your target audience, and how to effectively merge the two to get that message across to the people you want. On top of that, if you're talking about the digital world, you have the Facebooks, the YouTubes, and the Instagrams, and the LinkedIns, and they're so heavily based off of algorithms that you need to make sure your copy is fitting those algorithms with the proper hashtags and whatever. So quick tip on that is, if you have your bulk of hashtags that you just copy and paste every time, like Ryan does, that's the wrong approach. That's your first nugget. Don't do that.
There you go. Yeah, don't do that. So let's talk a little bit about just philosophy behind marketing, okay? This is going to be one of the things that I want you guys to understand, that anytime that you're creating a marketing piece and you're shooting out there to try and get something done in this world, you are going to have to spend a decent amount of effort on that copy. Exactly what Ryan was saying. I mean, it's not necessarily the favorite thing for most people to do, but you've got to spend that time on it. Thank you. So when we're doing that, we need to understand who's going to be reading this. Who are we talking to, right? One of the biggest problems that so many of us struggle with in copy, in advertising, in marketing, is that we get so involved with what we are doing that we forget to actually speak to the person who needs to be spoken to, which is our prospective client, our prospective seller, our prospective whoever that might be. And the cool thing about something like this, the cool thing about doing a Grant Teach Me Something on this episode is that, guys, this isn't just a real estate specific deal. I mean, marketing is marketing. One of the cool things about really studying marketing, really studying copy and all of those deals is that there's so many resources out there to study this kind of stuff because it's not just industry specific. Sales are sales. Marketing is marketing, right? You can find so many great tips. One of my big advice nuggets for you today is going to be stop looking for how do I do blank in real estate and just start looking for how do I market? How do I run a business? How do I this, that, the other? It's not just about your real estate. You've really got to open your mind up to say, like, this is a business and we need to treat it as a business. And how do businesses approach this?
And on that note, you need to keep your eyes open. Whether you see a really cool creative piece in a magazine or a direct mail, they're out there, but because you get so much mail, whatever you don't throw away, take notice of that and be like, okay, what can I emulate from that? On top of that, if you're scrolling through your Facebooks, your YouTubes, your LinkedIn's, and you come across something you've never seen before, and you're like, how the hell did this come up on my feed? Open it up and try to emulate that. Again, shout out to a couple people on LinkedIn. They won't see this because they're not on LinkedIn or they're not on Facebook. You've got Lila Smith, you got Rachel Chang, Goldie something or another, I forget her last name, but they've mastered this whole copy. And if you know me and you talk to me outside, I've been talking to Casey a little bit, is with RJ in Titanium, is just look at what they're doing and just emulate. They're using hashtags, they're tagging other people, they're mentioning campaigns, and they've hacked that system to basically their message ride the coattails of something else. Mm-hmm. And yes, that's more of a digital approach, but the message I'm trying to convey is if you see something that's working, don't reinvent the wheel. Right. Just try to emulate what's already working.
Right. And one of the problems that you'll run into when, because that's a really good idea, and I definitely, like, I've got a file of pieces of marketing that I like, so I'm agreeing with that, even though this is going to sound like I'm not, is that the danger of doing that is that you don't know what's working. You don't know necessarily how an ad is converting or how somebody else's whatever is working, and that's called Me Too marketing a lot of times. And if you just get into Me Too marketing, that's that downward spiral where conversion rates aren't necessarily, like, just because you see somebody else doing it doesn't mean that it's working. Now, if you see somebody else doing it and it opens your mind to, it's like, oh my gosh, that is an excellent way to use one of the principles that Grant taught me on episode 33 of Grant Teach Me Something, then keep that. Then you're like, that is a great way to emulate what I need to do. So let's talk a little bit about, just again, the theory of marketing. What needs to happen in order for you to speak to somebody, okay? I got this off of a marketing podcast that I listened to a long time ago, and I wish I could remember the name of the guy because I feel like I'm not giving proper credit to him whenever
his message was good, but his copy sucked because you can't remember him.
He was a guest on a marketing podcast, but the whole spiel here was that we need to remember that everyone wakes up the protagonist of their own story, okay? That's one of the biggest failures that us as marketers will forget. And again, I know that we've been very digital marketing heavy, and that probably doesn't apply to 99% of the people that are watching because you're looking for mailers or you're looking for how you're going to call somebody and talk to them, that kind of thing. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a bandit signs. We're in a little bit of a different world because we are doing this kind of stuff. So, there's a lot of heaviness on things that aren't, that are digital, that aren't necessarily where you're going to be. But we need to understand, again, that these principles are the same everywhere. And whoever you're talking to, they are the protagonist of their own story. They woke up, they're going to go through their day, and frankly, you don't matter to them at all. The only reason you matter to them is to the extent at which they're going to help you. This being a perfect example. Like, I don't truly matter to really anybody that's watching here, but I matter to the extent that I'm able to get you where you want to go. What I'm doing here is I am becoming the guide, okay? I am your guide. You are the protagonist, and we both understand and respect that you're the hero of this story. Our job is to provide you with value so that you can get to the point that you want to be. Now, when we talk about that, and we talk about properly getting a grasp on our prospective seller's mind or whoever it is that you're trying to approach and talk to, that's what it's all about. And I really want to point out, because this really helps me, helps drive my point home. Who was it? Lacey, a few minutes ago, says, I feel like I've known Grant forever. Okay? That is awesome. That is such a cool, like, Lacey, I love it. I love seeing that, because even though Lacey and I haven't had like a straight up sit down, let's talk and chat for a while conversation in person, I have understood that Lacey and the Laceys of the world are the heroes of their own story, and we are providing enough of a value that is going out there that Lacey feels like she's known me forever, right? And that's cool. That's great, because I'm the guide. That's my only purpose in life. So the thing that we need to think about when we are in marketing, when we are talking about putting compelling copy together, is that if you think about like Star Wars, okay? I don't care if you're not a Star Wars nerd, you're gonna still get this analogy. You think about Star Wars. When Luke Skywalker showed up to Yoda, did Yoda go on for 45 minutes telling him how he learned to do the Force because his father knew the Force, and so he's the best person that has ever done the Force ever, and look at all these accolades that I have with the Force, blah, 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 blah. He didn't do any of that crap.
I've never seen Star Wars.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I can't help you. He didn't do any of that.
It's my weekly throw Grant off his game.
When Luke Skywalker showed up, Luke Skywalker was the protagonist of the story. It was just assumed through Yoda being able to go ahead and help and throw things out and offer and be there, that Yoda was the guide. It was assumed that Yoda's going to be able to help Luke get to that next level. So our job when we're creating compelling copy for our marketing pieces, whatever that is, and when I say, this could be how you're talking to people, whatever, is you need to be the Yoda. Mm-hmm. That's my nugget thing that I want you to...
Hashtag be the Yoda.
I want you to literally print this out. Wherever it is that you create your marketing pieces, I want you to print this out and I want you to sling it right in front of your eyes. Be the Yoda, okay? Because you are the guide to somebody else's story. You are going to help somebody else get where they need to be, and that's why you matter.
And real quick, I just want to reemphasize, just because we kind of grazed over it, and I was a little bit heavy on the digital side a second ago. It is irrelevant what your marketing channel is. The copy is important everywhere you are. So whether we're talking about the bandit signs, whether you're talking about classified ads, Craigslist ads, your digital marketing, your radio ads, your this or that. I don't know what you're laughing at, but I'm going to try to keep on topic because nobody cares about you. They care about the meat.
They do care about me. Grant's life matters. Hashtag.
Oh God, that is funny. But you even got things like the Bluetooth marketing, the proximity marketing. Mm-hmm. The copy on that, you may only have like 20 characters. You really have to hone in your message. If you're doing a Twitter campaign, I would love to know how you're doing that. I've never been successful. I've never even tried to do houses from there, but I'm sure somebody has learned that system, and you got to do that in 128, whatever the characters are. Right. So you really have to hone in that message. So the rest of what we're talking about here, your marketing channel is irrelevant. So don't get caught in this rut of, I know somebody's like, well, yeah, that doesn't really help on bandit signs. Bullshit. Right. The message, honing in your copy is relevant to any kind of marketing channel. It's just, so don't get in that trap of, this is not really mean anything to me.
Right,
However you're trying to go, the copy is so important.
It absolutely is, yeah, and I'm really glad that you drew that so far to the attention, because exactly that, like, okay, we're talking about hashtags. Well, you're not gonna use hashtags on a piece of letter, but the principle behind that is also very important. And here's another thing, just to take that a step further. What I'm about to be telling you today, and what I just told you a second ago, Be the Yoda is one of the biggest, that should blow your mind. Be the Yoda should be something that you should stick with constantly in your head. Anytime you're doing marketing, you should be thinking, how can I be the Yoda? The other thing to this, just to take that even a step further of, okay, we're talking digital marketing, but you might be doing physical media. Well, this same principle is going to be what helps you when you are talking in person to a potential private money lender. It's the same principles in marketing, any kind of medium that you're using. This is how you're going to get private money from people. This is how you're going to get people to sell you houses. This is how you're going to get better deals from people, okay? So be the Yoda. You are the guide to the protagonist of, which is, they are the protagonist of their own story. Now, let's take this as even dive a little bit deeper in here in this philosophy, okay? So when we think about companies that inspire, people that are inspired and loyal to companies, and I know it gets so cliche, like I just dread anytime I'm listening to a market thing and somebody's talking about, let's talk about inspiration. I'm like, okay, 3, 2, 1, Apple. And now they're talking about Apple. Like that's how it's gonna go. But Apple is such a phenomenal case study in marketing.
But you can also apply that to Nike, to Adidas, to
Southwest Airlines,
or people when they're loyal. Like if somebody wears Nike, they only wear Nike. If somebody listens to Beats headphones, they only wear Beats headphones. And then they like what they like. They're loyal to the loyal, and they just buy. Like I literally have 2 Apple computers. My next computer will be an Apple computer. I have like 5 Apple TVs spread out throughout my life. I've got 2 here in the office, and that's stupid, but I have it. But it goes back to people are loyal to their brand.
Right. There's going to be people that have literal Harley Davidson tattoos. This is a brand.
I don't have an Apple tattoo.
So what we need to think about is, what is it that these brands did to inspire that loyalty from somebody, okay? And we've got to understand that, our language center, our center that is able to justify and put into words why we are loyal with something, that is our neocortex. That's in our brain, that's our neocortex. That's what allows you to justify, well, I do this and this and this and this and this. If I were to ask Ryan, like, why is it that you buy apples so much? He's like, well, they're faster. I know that they're just going to work and blah, blah, blah. He could probably give me a lot of details as to what's going on. But really, the magic of what Apple has done and the magic of what Southwest Airlines has done and the magic of Harley Davidson and all of these other companies that have loyal followers that will, like he said, I love that you said that. My next computer, probably going to be a Mac. He's not going out to even look at, if I were to say, why are you buying a Mac? You'd give me a bunch of details, right?
I will say, let me just do a quick caveat because, and this will come up later, but I want to go ahead and address it now. If your copy is amazing, and to get that brand awareness and get that loyalty, if they come out and actually do business with you and you do shit business, you're dead. Right. So the reason I'm a Mac guy is because I bought, when I was in college in 2016, no, when I was, back in college in the early 2000s, I bought a super duper hyped up laptop, blah, 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 and it was crap. I go out and I returned it, took a $200 hit, went out and got a Mac, and it just worked. And yes, that was 2 or 3 years ago, but 2 or 3 years later, my brain still says, 20 years ago when I got a laptop, it was shit from a PC, but 20 years ago when I got a Mac, it just worked. Therefore, 20 years later, I haven't even touched a PC, but my brain still says, it's crap, mine's better. So, but the point I'm trying to make is, if you can drag somebody in, you got to have the follow through to actually perform.
And that's actually going to be what's called the difference between inspiration and manipulation, okay? So we'll get in, actually, let me make myself a note of that because I do want to talk about that here in a second.
Inspiration.
Versus it's manipulation.
Okay, we're both like,
Inspiration versus manipulation. Okay, so when we talk about these companies that have massive followings, massive loyalty, let's look at Apple. Let's look at Apple versus Dell. Okay, so Dell created an MP3 player and PDA, right? Probably was an excellent MP3 player, but Dell's marketing was all about what they do and how they do it. They are computer makers, and so when they came out with an MP3 player, it didn't line up. It didn't line up with what we knew inherently about that person, about that company, okay? Because what we need when we're making decisions, we make decisions from the limbic brain, which is actually kind of inside there. And the limbic brain is going to have emotion and feeling and gut decisions. That's where that's what the limbic brain is going to do for you. So you make your decisions based on your emotion and guts, and then those decisions get justified oftentimes by that neocortex. Those decisions get justified. You can say the what and the hows after that. But we, in our hearts, in our gut, in our limbic brain, knew that Dell was a computer company. That's how they've been presented to us our whole life. So when they came out with an MP3 player, people didn't go out and say, wow, this MP3 player can hold more and has a better battery life. And like Creative, for instance. Creative had an MP3 player that, I forget what it was called, but it was a great MP3 player. Was it the Zune? Yeah?
That was Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Creative had an excellent one, right? Great battery life, great everything, blah, 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 blah. But Apple came out, and Apple's MP3 player matched up with what we knew about Apple. And what we know about Apple is that Apple is going to push the envelope. Apple is going to be innovative. That is their why. They're in this to do that. They're not in it to make computers. Dell was in it to make computers. So now anything that comes out from Apple that lines up with that why, that we're going to innovate, we're going to push the envelope, we're going to do this, that makes sense as part of their business model, and we are comfortable doing business with that. Therefore, like Ryan said, everything that Apple has ever presented to him lined up with their why. Once they had him as a customer, they continued to show that they were solid on their why and that they were going to perform what they said that they were going to perform, to where now, even if for the same price he could get an objectively better computer somehow else using his neocortexal brain, he's not even considering it. He's going to go get another Mac because it is part of his gut decision. He is loyal to that brand now because they've spoken to his why. They know what their why is, and everything they do lines up with that.
Well, and I'm just better. But the reality is like, I am fully aware that since Jobs died, the quality of Apple has every single year started to decrease. It is what it is. There's stuff that comes out daily about how Apple did this or how they're shady over there. And every single day that chips away at my loyalty. So that's kind of the reverse side of the whole loyalty, is if you can have it and you can have this huge army of people that are all into you, and you can maintain that even if you're doing stupid practices, but eventually that'll run out.
But because those practices are no longer their why is no longer their big push.
But my point being is they have been able to create so much loyalty from the very beginning that even though I'm like, golly, my brain still says if I get a PC laptop or PC computer, it's going to shit. It's going to be crap because 20 years ago when I did buy something, it was crap. Mm-hmm. So that's the reverse side of things.
Yeah. And so, when we, just to hammer one last point on limbic versus neocortex, it's like, when you were in school and you did multiple choice and your teacher was always like, just go with your gut, whatever your first one that you were going to choose was probably the right answer. That's because our decisions are made faster and more accurately with that limbic brain than they are when we start analyzing with our neocortex. Now, if we can shoot over to the whiteboard for a second, I'm going to show you something that's called the golden circle, okay? And what I'm talking about right now is we need to understand what why is, okay? For Apple, their why is that they're pushing the envelope. They are going to innovate. They are going to always provide the coolest, most up-to-date, whatever thing. And then outside of that, we've got don't call it a donut yet because it gets even more.
I was going to call it a Y donut. Or a how donut. A how Y donut? Oh, ooh.
Outside of that,
it's a cinnamon roll.
the hashtag why cinnamon roll. That's a hard hashtag. This is what happens, okay? Now, what most companies do and what most marketing pieces are doing that you are going to see, and this is why I say don't be a Me Too marketer, is that most people that are marketing are inherently going to come in and market from the outside in. They're going to tell you what they do, how they do it, and maybe they will tell you why that's happening. They're going to tell you, we buy houses, and we buy them with cash, and we buy them faster than anybody else. But that doesn't inspire anything. That is purely a what and how marketing. If Apple were to market what, they would say, we have released a new laptop. It has a 3.5 gigahertz processor on it that has 16 gigs of RAM and 128 gig hard drive. Okay? Well, now that's activating what part of your brain? That's activating your neocortex. So now you're just going to go apples to apples and say, okay, apples to apples, huh? Apples to apples. So now you're going to go apples to apples and you're going to compare, okay, this computer has 3.5 gigahertz processor, 16 gigs of RAM, 128 gig hard drive, and it's $3,000. And that one has 3.5, 16 gigs, 128 gig of RAM, and it's $2,000. Okay, therefore I'm going to choose that one, i.e. the Dell or the HP or whatever. But that's not how we were marketed to. That's not how Apple has presented their marketing. Their marketing is all about the lifestyle. Their marketing is all about the feeling. Their marketing is all about who they are, what kind of person you are if you have an Apple. Remember the Mac, I'm a PC, I'm a Mac. They are marketing to the why. Why do you have a computer? When one of the most recent ads that I'm seeing with Apple is that like with their phone. They're taking the pictures of the phone or on the phone, and they're showing all these beautiful pictures that are being taken. And they're showing their website, their call to action isn't even to go get their phone. It's apple.com/how to take a photo or something like that. They realized that people are making decisions based on what they do with that phone, which is, I want to take great pictures with this phone. I want to capture wonderful moments with this phone. So they show you a bunch of wonderful moments and the fact that you're going to be able to capture them even better with their phone than you could anybody else. I don't know how fast an iPhone X's processor speed is. I don't really know how much drive space they have.
But it's an Apple.
But they've gone from the why out. They don't tell you any of the what's. They've gone from the why out. They start with why, okay? Now, that leads into the book giveaway that we will be giving away, which is called Start With Why. It's by Simon Sinek, and that's what I'm teaching out of right here is Start With Why.
And on top of that, what we'll do is, just because it's fun, for every 100 comments we get on the Facebook live stream, we will be giving away one free t-shirt. Therefore, if we get to 300 comments, it's not an I, it's, Propelio, we will give away 3 t-shirts to a random comment picker. And we'll still probably give away a book, Propelio, because CreativeCashFlow.com will give away its own book.
Why you gotta be so sarcastic?
Just because it's funny. I love picking on you. Because people love you more than me. Hashtag Ryan's life matters more. No, but anyway, again, this is all live. Therefore, drop your comments, drop your questions. If you have ideas, throw them in there. We do this live stream so it could be more of a conversation versus an educational Tai Lopez whatever type thing. There is no sales pitch. There is no give us $9.97 at the end of it. That being said, we do need your help. Please like and share the video to your heart's content. But on top of that, we are trying to hit 5,000 likes on Propelio, and we need your help to do that. So not right now, but maybe later today, go to the Propelio app Facebook page and invite people in your network, in your real estate investor network that should be followers of what we're doing here and help us grow. We're all about their organic growth, and that's the only way we can do it is with your help. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and I like Janine.
And that's our why.
I like Janine popping in and saying, great, now I have to go rewrite all my marketing. It's true. Me too. Whenever I started looking into this stuff, me too. I get it. Hashtag me too. Is that how that's used? Sorry, that was very disrespectful. I'm just joking. So getting back to our why, start with why, right? That's the Simon Sinek book of what needs to create good, compelling marketing. Now, let me just pull back the curtain a little bit to take Ryan's sarcastic comment and explain a little bit further. In that Creative Cashflow and Propelio.com are 2 completely separate companies. But we share our why. And our why is why you're watching right now. Our why is that we want to make sure, we feel like too many people have been screwed by stupid marketing people that go out and say, well, just pay me $9.97 for this course, and then I'll teach you how to pay me $12,000 for my next course, which is going to teach you how to pay me $20,000 for that course. We freaking hate that. Daniel and myself and Ryan, we hate that. And so we have figured out that we have the ability to actually make a change in this market. We have the ability to put real and actionable information in front of people who actually need it, and that we're going to do that because we want to see everybody else grow. We both can, Daniel and I both came from, Daniel much, I'm not trying to, but we both came from humble beginnings, right? I was a 1,000 square foot house in Garland with gang signs tagged on my house and drug dealers and all that kind of stuff. Daniel had a very rough upbringing, which he's talked about as well. We have seen what real estate can do for us, and we want to see other people get that same result. And that, because you understand that why, is why people are so stinking loyal to Propelio. Propelio is this amazing brand that because you know why they're doing what they're doing, you are comfortable logging in every Wednesday and watching a live event. Because you understand that everything that happens on Propelio's Facebook page, everything that happens that CreativeCashFlow.com is going to put out there is going to align with that. And we are going to give you that why. We are going to give you the information for free to make sure that you do that. Now, where me and Propelio don't line up is our how. We both have the same why, we both have the same what. Why? Because we feel like everybody's getting screwed and we need to give out real and actionable information. We need to make sure that people have access to this information. What? We're giving educational videos. We're coming out here and we're spending time really training and teaching how this stuff works, pouring our knowledge into it. The how is Propelio's doing it for free. Propelio's doing it for free and giving it to you out on these Facebook videos 3 times a week. They've got the Propelio Academy releasing. When is the Academy coming out?
October 1st.
October 1st, the Propelio Academy is going to be coming out, and you will be getting access to all of that training there. And my how just is a little bit different. My how is through CreativeCashFlow.com, which is a membership site, and through personal mentoring.
So, sorry, real quick. Let me finish your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No. That's basically
Well, I was
it.
going to say, where does the underlying agenda come into play? Is that still the why? Because the why of yes, that's how we're getting our message across, but is this mainly just for the copy itself and the advertising and the marketing tool? It's just understood the reason you're doing it is for the business stuff over here, or does that even come play over there?
Yeah, so
you see where I'm going with that?
So it's an interesting thought. So one of the things, so just to parse that out and be extremely blunt about it, you're saying, yeah, but the white is you make money.
The reason why we do the free shit is the sub why is yes, the gurus are full of crap and screw those guys. Here's this information for free. But the underlying agenda why is, yes, we want you to be aware of Propelio. We want you to, once you are an active investor type, pay for our monthly services to grow your business. Side tangent, our monthly services is we help, we assist you with off-market lead lists, we give you access to true MLS comps, and we give you investor-friendly websites. That's our agenda. Our agenda is to get exposure to Propelio, and then once you are active in the real estate investor space, you pay for our shit.
Well, that's your how.
That's the how. Okay.
That's your how, right? But we start with the why. And then we get to the how. Our why is we want to make sure that everybody has this education. How? I'm getting, I get my payment from CreativeCashFlow.com members, from personal mentorships. That's how I am able to afford to do this.
Right.
Same thing on Propelio.com. But I want to move quickly away from this because we're talking about us. So probably what I'm seeing is right about now, a good portion of you are starting to tune out. Okay? Just frankly. Because why? Because we're talking about us. I'm not talking about you anymore. I've lost sight of the protagonist of this story. You don't care why, how, and what I'm doing. You don't care why, how, and what Propelio's doing. You care how we're going to help you, okay? And that's just the reality of it. And we need to keep on track of that. And the reason I'm pointing that out to you is that you need to not make that mistake when creating marketing copy and marketing pieces for your seller, for who you're working with. As you may have just seen by the fact that your brain may have wanted to tune out there because we spent a little too long speaking about us and what we do. You need to make sure that you don't fall into that trap with your seller. And that is the trap that 99% of our marketing sees in mailers and all of this kind of, because everybody wants to say, I close quick, I close with cash, we close on, on your timeline and blah, blah, blah. All these what and hows, right? But we're not addressing the why. And so what I want you guys to do is you need to create an avatar. Okay, that's what it's called in marketing, is when you're creating what somebody looks like, somebody that you might be marketing to, you need to create this avatar of that person. And basically what that means is we're going to look at an empty shell of a person, just like my ex-girlfriend, and just fill that. I don't know. I'm trying to get an ex-girlfriend reference in every week now.
Is this to poke at me?
What? No.
Oh, okay.
Are you my ex-girlfriend?
No.
So we create this empty shell and we fill on a piece of paper what that person might look like. Who is the person that needs to work with you? Okay? Who is that person? So what you want to do is for every type of lead list that you're going to be marketing to, you need to create an avatar for that person, and you need to fully understand everything that I talked about in the first 30 minutes of this. They are the protagonist of their own story. You are merely the Yoda. Your matter only matters to the extent at which you're going to be able to help them, and you need to inspire them to work with you. You need them to understand that you are the person who knows what your why is and how that's going to align with them. So,
real quick, I just want to point out that you glazed over it very quickly, and that was the whole typical postcards from 2 to 3 years ago. Everybody does. That's the whole, we can close in 7 days. We pay cash. We pay for all closing costs. Estates, that typical bullet point postcard. Don't do that, because everyone does that, and somebody sees that's going in the trash because they've become immune to that. Because if you see the same crap every day, one more postcard, it's just trash. So again, that is not aligned with the why and the how and the what. You don't know your customer.
They're starting from the what and working their way in.
What they're doing is they're just like, well, I'm just going to assume that this is working because everybody else is doing it. Back to your earlier point of just because everybody's doing it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it what you need to be doing.
Right.
Different from what I was saying earlier. If you see something doing it right, you emulate the people that are doing it right, not just because they're doing
it. We need a why counter to see how many times Grant Kemp says why. Why?
Too many.
So, all right, so let's pop over to the whiteboard, and this is what I'm going to show you guys on how we're going to create an avatar for our marketing pieces. So, oops, never mind. Now let's pop over to the whiteboard.
Uh-oh, what was it?
I had my Facebook screen still up here. So when we create our avatar, it is not so that we can plug our tail into somebody else's tail. It is so that we can figure out what that person's life looks like, okay? So we are going to have a 3-columned approach to this. Our first column is going to be fears, okay? Our first column is going to be fears. We have to figure out what is this person afraid of. And so this avatar may be avatar for a pre-foreclosure, which, by the way, Propelio.com gives away pre-foreclosure lists.
Subtle plug.
That are phenomenal lists. So what are their fears? Their fears might be losing their house, okay? Their fears might be facing bankruptcy. Oops, facing BK. Their fears may be embarrassment. My handwriting is embarrassing. So you need to write down every single freaking thing that you can think that this person might be afraid of.
Giant whiteboards are appropriate for this.
Yes.
You got to get the giant whiteboard and literally just partition it off to 1 or 2 columns or 3 columns, depending on how far. I'm sure it's more than one, but you just list. What is your ideal client? Who are you trying to buy from? And hoarders, this, that, and just list all that stuff out.
Exactly. So we're going to do 3-columned approaches here. We're going to do fears in the first column. We're going to do situation in the second column. So what is their situation? Well, they're behind, obviously, on their mortgage, but they might also be behind on credit cards or on a car payment, okay? They might also have medical bills. This is one that I know from experience that a lot of our people that are struggling and facing foreclosure have. And again, think of every single stinking thing that you might be able to put down that is part of their situation. Okay? And then for our last spot, you are going to put your solution. Okay? Now, in your solution field, this is where you're going to garner the stuff that you are actually putting in your copy. In other words, in this column, you want to have the most efficient possible phraseologies that are going to affect the most items out of the previous two columns at once. All right? So you might have the ability to, like if you can do full price, one of the fears that people are going to have is big discounts.
Lowball.
Lowballs. Okay? Lowball offers. Well, with one phrase in your solution field, you're going to be able to say, even if you're behind on payments, even if you have no equity, whatever it might be, I can keep you from losing your house by buying full price, which means that you never even have to consider facing bankruptcy. Right? So in like one sentence.
And then on that, you could even throw in, you don't have to be embarrassed because we're not going to list it. There's not a realtor, so there's not going to be a million people looking at it.
Exactly. So now we've got 1 or 2 sentences that effectively took care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my fears and situations. This is how you get effective marketing copy, because you need to have a full avatar of every person that you might be speaking to written out. And then you make your copy aligning with your why, because you need to understand that this is their why. This is why they're in this situation. They've got to, in their situation, one of the things that I would put in there is like, you may have one avatar built out for somebody with strong family ties. Okay? This isn't going to reach everybody that you're dealing with. But one of the types of people that you will be dealing with in a pre-foreclosure is going to be the type of person that's going to go live with their family or stay with a sister or something like that after they get done with that. So strong family ties might fit this avatar that you're creating right here. So if you are strong in the family ties, or you have something that can speak to that and that aligns with their why and who they are and what you are and why you are, that's going to be effective marketing. That's going to be copy that's going to inspire them to trust you, because their gut is going to tell them that you're the type of person that they would want to work with. And the reason why that is that you're speaking to their emotional brain, their limbic brain, the part of their brain that makes decisions, not the part of the brain that compares objective things like we close quick and we close with all cash. Because everybody closes quick. Everybody closes with all cash. If you're speaking purely to objective, measurable terms, then they will just measure you against the other 9,000 postcards that are on their table, and you probably won't win that. But if you are speaking to non-measurables, terms that are going to speak to their limbic brain, that make them understand that they are the hero of the story, that you are properly respecting who they are, and that you are merely here as a guide to help them transition through this next part of their life, that's the copy that gets somebody to call you. That is copy that kills. So you create this avatar for every type of person in every situation that you might be marketing to, and then you're going to create your solution pieces in as efficient manner as possible. In other words, the fewer words, the better, because you might even get this into a postcard, however you're going to do that. And I'm not going to give you answers with this. And I'm not going to show you marketing pieces of mine, because what that does is that kills your creativity, 1. 2, it gives you too much of a chance to be a Me Too marketer, and so then they're going to get 3 or 4 pieces or 50 pieces from the same copy. But 3, man, I'll tell you what, my students, when I show them this, sometimes they blow me away with stuff that I would have never thought to put in there, and I'm like, that is freaking brilliant, and I love it, because they're coming from a different perspective than I am, and so you might be coming from a different perspective than all the other Me Too marketers, and you're going to be able to kill it with your copy. You're going to do the same thing with private lenders. You're going to do the same thing with any person that you need to sell yourself to in any way. Create an avatar for them, figure out what your solution is, and then attack. Go do it. This stuff, me and Ryan are huge on like, stop setting up your CRM. Stop sitting there and doing crap other than talking to a seller. I'm going to give you some permission right now to spend too much time on this. I'm going to give you some permission to spend too much time on this and to spend too much time on your marketing. This avatar per person should take you at least 5 days. You should figure out, because you're going to write everything down, you're going to set it off to the side, you're going to go live your life, and then you're going to come back to it in 2 days. And you're going to say, oh, I didn't think about this, or I didn't think about that. When you're creating your marketing piece, each letter should take a week, maybe 2. Don't go more than 2 weeks on it. Constantly adjust, but to get those first drafts out there, a week or 2 in marketing pieces is not bad. And here's why. I'm going to give you an example. So there's a subreddit called TIFU, Today I F'd Up. And they just tell stories, right? Well, this one guy quit his job to go into marketing. He's gotten hired by this small-time pizza company. The pizza company is like in this building that's kind of behind everybody in a strip mall, and like you can't really see it. You got to know where you're going. But he says he goes there, and it's like awesome. It's like this family environment. They've got tons of craft beers on tap. Like it's this totally new like experience. How they have it set up, it's just so cool. And he's thinking, he's like, how am I going to market this? How am I going to put that out there? And he's going through all this kind of stuff. And what he lands on, he's like, everybody's so used to going to Olive Garden or, whatever. Like they're just driving to the same old places every old time. We need to convince them to get here instead. So the marketing piece that he presented to the company was, Ryan's Pizzas, go somewhere else. Terrible marketing piece, but because he was so like dove in and so like he knew his logic of how he got there, but he never took the time to put that on a piece of paper, walk away from it, and come back and reread it. He didn't realize what an awful marketing piece it was, because go somewhere else. It makes sense in that way of like, let's go someplace else. But like as a marketing piece, that's an awful piece. So spend a week or 2. Put some stuff on it, set it aside, go live your life, go call your sellers, go knock on doors, come back to it, reread it, and see if it still fits all of these models.
And it ultimately needs to be relevant. It needs to be relevant to your, as Grant would say, your avatar, your prospective customer, your prospective client. It needs to be relevant, whether that be a bandit sign, a Facebook ad, a Google ad, is Yahoo still a thing? I don't know. But like, direct mail, postcard. If somebody picks it up, are they going to throw it away? Are they going to pay attention to it? Are they going to whatever? Is it relevant? There's that Longhorn Hammer Hawk lawyer guy. He does great marketing. Everybody knows what he is, what he does, whatever. Everybody has eyeballs on it. But I will also throw in the fact of, but does that get any business? I don't know. I've never called him up as a lawyer. But everybody knows about him. They're like, oh, the Hawk lawyer guy. Mm-hmm. Great marketing, but does it hook people? I don't know. I can't answer that. But as far as social awareness, it's great. I do want to address, but Alex on YouTube, he was just talking about how important marketing was and how thankful that in college he actually took a marketing class. I will even add to that, and I got this from my dad, who's an architect, and he told me all my life, and I never listened, because I'm an idiot, how important English class is and how the ability to write in coherent fashion. Obviously, neither myself or Grant have that capability, but it is important to be able to convey the message you are trying to convey through the English language, whether that be like what you're saying by the creative script in a video or in copy on the written. But those two things, marketing and English, and just being able to convey that message are so important. So if you ever have a want to just take a night class, take a marketing class. Take an English class, because those are going to be very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So don't forget, guys, to throw comments in here. We're going to be closing up. I've got one more point that I want to make to get back to our inspiration versus manipulation side of things. But what did you say, for how many comments or what?
For every 100 comments, we will give another shirt away.
That's awesome.
So right now we're at like 2 comments. We're at 130 comments, so therefore I'm giving 1 shirt away. But I'm still going to give the Start With The Why book. I'm only going to do one book because books are whatever. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Are you doing a book?
Yeah. So go to CreativeCashFlow.com. You can look me up. Like, we're linked on the description of this. And we've got the video cross-posted on there. Go drop me a comment over there too. Let's start the conversation on both sides. And again, I will do a random picker there, and I will give away another book. Again, I think the Start With Why is such an important book for marketing. We're going to give that one away over there too. So I will pull that out tomorrow.
So don't stop watching on Propelio.
Right?
So we're all about abundance. We're all about the free stuff. So for every 100 comments, we're at 130-ish now. I'll give a free t-shirt. So therefore, if we get to 200, I'll give 2 t-shirts because I like comments. But on top of that,
don't act like you didn't almost say I like big butts and I cannot lie.
I wasn't gonna say that because that's not appropriate. But like Propelio, if you haven't liked it already, please help us get to 5,000 likes. After that, I'll be saying, hey, please help us get to 1 million. But let's start with small with 5,000. But the only way we can get there is through your help. Also, this is a conversation, so make sure you continue to watch the shows, engage with us, ask those questions, point the things out.
And really importantly, if you know of somebody who's struggling with their marketing copy, or you've got a business partner or somebody that you're working with or somebody that aligns with your why, tag them in here, because if you align with their why, again, I was meeting, so I'm picking up a couple of students on the personal mentoring thing, and they were talking about yesterday, they were like, if a business could have a best friend, that's who he is to us, right? And so, but I love that analogy of it because it's true, like Propelio and Creative Cashflow are business best friends. Like I've got Ronnie Walker as a business best friend. Like you've got these people that you're willing to share. You literally have the name tag Propelio on you. I said
and I wanted to be your best
we're business best friends.
Anyway.
So tag somebody in there that you're business best friends with. Tag somebody on here that can get use out of learning how to create compelling marketing copy. One thing that Brady popped in here is, do you find it's hard to discover the fears and situations of others with a low emotional IQ? Seems like one would need to have an understanding of emotional intelligence to do this naturally and on demand. And that's actually one of the big reasons why I want you to physically write things out on this avatar, because at that point in time, one of the things I failed to go into is, as you're talking to your sellers from that point on, anytime you talk to a seller that fits one of these avatars, listen really, even if they don't fit, because you need to build an avatar out of them, listen it's very difficult to listen as hard as you need to, but you need to listen very hard for everything that they're telling you, because you need to be able to listen for things that you can add into these columns. Because your sellers may tell you a new fear that you never really thought about as being something, because we're not in that situation. We are in a different spot than the person that we're talking to, and that's very important for you to understand. There's so much more into marketing. I could go on for hours and hours and hours. I'm taking 2 points that we're talking about here, really with like Be the Yoda and the Start With the Why stuff. But there's so many things about understanding that we're in a different position in life than they are. And that's not that we're better or worse, we're just in a different position in life than they are. So they think about life differently than we do, and we need to very, very much tune into their way of thinking. So if you hear something from your seller that's a little bit different, you're like, oh wow, okay, put that on your avatar. Because you need to start seeing what you can do to address that situation with people. And don't put like, in situation, don't necessarily put is a trucker or works at Walmart. Like just put blue collar. Like they're a blue collar worker. We want to be as efficient with all of these as we possibly can. The fewer words in each of these columns that mean more to what that person is or more to what we can do for them, the better, because that's how you really get those marketing pieces compelling.
So let me ask a question, and it's going to be one of those that Grant gets mad at me for. So I understand listing out the fears. I understand listing out the situation. And then I understand listing out the solutions to match as many of those at one point. How do you go from the solution to then getting, and I understand getting creative, but how do you master the skill of actually doing the compelling copy?
Well,
and then transitioning from there to, hey, it's on print.
So that's part of what it takes when you create this copy. One of your big jobs from that point on is every phone call you get, every response that you get to this piece of copy, ask them the question, so what made you choose to call me? You've got 16,000 postcards on your table. What made you choose to call me? With that one simple question, with that one simple question, I have found a couple of phrases that every single one of my marketing pieces has. Because like 80% of the people that were calling me would quote this one phrase, and it's like, okay, I know that I need to include that in all of my pieces, and then we just kind of mix and match other things until we're getting people that are responding to that, or I'm getting enough people, because again, remember how I was talking about you make your decision with your limbic brain, you only justify it with your neocortex? Asking them why they called me is them justifying their emotional response. It's them using their neocortex to say what their limbic brain made them choose to do. So that's not always going to be the most accurate thing, but what you need to be in tune to is you need to be in tune to when they are talking, are they telling you things where you're like, dude, I totally nailed it. You know, she just told me that it was, you know, she's being really like, she doesn't want this to be in front of anybody. She wants me to, so she's embarrassed. And I totally nailed it by putting embarrassed on my list and by addressing that. She called me because I understood that she was going to be embarrassed about this situation.
So real quick, I do want to test the audience. What are the two most important aspects of real estate investing? I'll pause for a couple seconds, let you type in your response if you are wanting to engage with us. But what are the two most important aspects of real estate investing? So with that, I would say a lot of people, especially new people, are like, well, the deals, the money, the numbers, the ARVs, the this, the that, all the aspects of the deal itself, and you were all wrong. The two most important aspects of real estate investing is actually the prospecting aspect of it and then the marketing aspect of it. We've said it many, many times here at Propelio. Daniel said it many, many times before, which is you need to be a marketer first and then a real estate investor second. The only way you could be a proper marketer is if you know who you are talking to and who you're targeting, and that's the prospecting side of things. So prospecting and marketing, at the end of the day, you could be the most ignorant person about real estate, but if you can get in front of somebody that needs to sell their house and has called you, you have a much higher opportunity to buy that deal, to get that deal, than somebody who knows everything about real estate investing and deal structuring, but has really bad prospecting and really bad marketing. And the reason that is if you know everything, but you can't get yourself in front of somebody, you ain't got shit.
Yep.
That being said, if you know nothing, but you can get in front of people, you have a much more opportunity to buy deals.
Absolutely true. Okay, so I'm going to finish up with one more point, which means, how many comments do we have at this point?
I don't know.
Let's see.
158.
Okay.
Looks like we're doing one shirt.
So while I'm finishing this last point out, which is going to take me maybe 5-ish minutes, you need to be putting in comments, you need to be talking with us, asking questions, that kind of stuff, because what I want to go into for our last point as we're finishing this out is inspiration versus manipulation. You've got to understand that manipulation does not necessarily it doesn't mean, it's not like a negative thing. It's not like your mom is manipulative. It is like you are manipulating. You have to know how to manipulate a pen to write. You have to know how to manipulate a fork to eat. Manipulation is going to be what happens when you are pricing yourself into a deal, okay? You are manipulating your way into a deal by saying, I will pay more than anybody else. Similarly, these companies are manipulating their ways into deals by running sales, by running rebates, cashback incentives, that kind of stuff. Manipulation is okay if you only need one transaction from somebody, okay? Manipulation is okay if you are on a single transaction track. As two examples of what a positive manipulation and a negative manipulation will do for you. Positive manipulation is, I forget the name of the company, it talks about it in the book, Start From Why. But there's a company that's called like goldenvelope.com or something like that. And basically what it is they will send you an envelope, you put your gold in it, you send it back to them, and then they give you money for that envelope. They're gonna go melt it down and that kind of stuff for whatever the gold was worth. And they came out, and their whole thing was our why, we're going to create. It wasn't really their why. We're going to create a better environment for these people. We're going to have better customer service. We're going to do a better job with it. We're going to outperform all of our competitors. We're going to really make sure that these people want to use us and are inspired by us. And they spent all this money in it. Well, then what they found out is that nobody was using them more than once, even with all of their efforts that they were putting into that. They were spending tons of money on great customer service and great this and great that, but nobody was a repeat customer. And it wasn't because their things were wrong, it's because people only needed that kind of service once, right? So they scrapped all of that. They started marketing purely for the manipulation of it, purely for the, send it to us now, we'll give you more money, whatever that might be. And their profits shot through the roof because they needed to inspire one transaction. They didn't need you to be a long-term customer. That long-term nurturing is a much harder thing to create. The downside of manipulation is when you do need repeat customers. You look at the auto industry. GMC during like the mid-2000s, when automakers were having a lot of trouble, started doing all these cashback incentives, all these cashback rebates, all that kind of stuff, to where now all of a sudden they were getting their sales shot through the roof immediately because you were getting $8,000 back on their GMC truck. You were getting $5,000 cash back at whatever, blah, 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 blah. That was a manipulation of the market to drive sales immediately. But then what happened is they got absolutely screwed in the long term because now they have set the tone that there's no such thing as paying full price for a vehicle. And people who are in the market for a vehicle would not go pay for a GMC unless they were getting cash back, unless there was a sale running. And they may as well just go get a Toyota. If they're going to pay full price for something, well, I'm going to get the one that has the better why. I'm going to get the one that aligns with what I want. This is going to feed, or not feed my family. This is going to carry my family, do exactly what I need out of it, and then all the neocortexal stuff matches up. If I'm paying full price, why not? Their sales plummeted because they needed to inspire, but instead they manipulated. So take that into mind with this kind of stuff, and where we only need a transaction typically out of a seller. We're hoping that we get referrals from family, friends, and that kind of stuff, but realistically, we're typically only getting one transaction on average from each of our sellers. On the flip side, from our wholesale buyers, from our wholesalers, from our private lenders, from our business best friends, those are people that we need to inspire to do business with us. CreativeCashFlow.com and Propelio.com have worked together for a long time and will continue to work together for a long time because our why aligns. Our why aligns, and we are going to work together, and we have become those business best friends. Our why aligns, and that's why it feels natural to you that Propelio has given me a platform every week to come talk to you. Yeah, it just makes sense because we're both doing the same thing. Our why aligns. So that has inspired a relationship to where we have a relationship now to where it's like the same kind of thing he was talking about earlier. There was a lead that was coming through and I had like no qualms. He's like, back off, Daniel's on it. I'm like, okay, cool. And I just kind of went along with my business and Daniel got the deal. When if it was somebody who had like screwed me over in the past, like, yeah, dude, I can go in and absolutely get them out the door and be like, yeah, okay, that's nice that they gave you an offer, but it's me giving you an offer and here's my bank account. Let's do this business.
To be fair, when I said Daniel's on it, the person was already in the room signing the contract.
Oh, were they? That's funny.
That's what I'm saying.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just saw a thing that said, I was like, oh, okay, this actually is a deal. I'm going to do it. He's like, back off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was a joke. I do want to address the manipulation, inspiration thing, because again, when you're dealing with the houses, Grant's absolutely right. 99.9% of the time, it's going to be the one-off transaction. That being said, that's why you got to keep your ears open at all points of the transaction, from the first buy call to the appointment to meeting with them to everything. You have to keep your ears open, because what if while you're talking to them, they actually have 9 other houses in their portfolio and this is just the first house? If you take the manipulation approach and you're only concerned about that one house, you just lost the opportunity to purchase 9 houses. What if that person obviously has referrals to other houses, whether they be in the neighborhood or other places in your market? Again, 99% of the time, that's not the case. But how stupid will you feel? It goes back to like when you're gambling, or at least when I'm gambling. If I win $5,000, cool, whatever. But if I lose $5,000, holy crap, that sucks. So again, it's the same mentality. If you get one house, great, you just made 10, 20, 30 grand. But if you lost the opportunity to make 3, 4, 500,000, you're gonna feel so much worse than the positive you would have felt of that one deal. So you got to make sure you know who your customer is, you keep your ears open for other opportunities, and that's just a side nugget.
Yep. So cool. I think that you guys have gotten a ton of golden nuggets today. At least you should have. This should all be stuff that you're going to be putting into play with your marketing piece. It's very important. So let's look and see.
Before we do that, sorry, let's see if we've got any comments, because I know we've just been going on. I know Brady had one. You addressed that. I remember a lot of people watching. I did see Tennille, certain commercials attract my 7-month-old, which makes me pay attention to see what she's interested in. So now I can remember these certain products. Actually, Tennille, that's a great ass point. I don't know the full. Wait, what? What did I say?
That's a great ass point.
No, whoops, my bad. No, but what I was going to get to is I'm not sure. I don't have the specifics of it. I don't know if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but there was a huge crackdown against advertising to small children, especially in the cereal industry. Again, I don't know the specifics. I don't even know what you should Google on it. I just
Camel couldn't use the cartoon anymore. You can't use cartoons
on cigarettes.
But
I'm just talking about like cereals, is because they were heavily marketing to kids, because typically who goes to the grocery store is the mother, and she has the kid with them, and when they're going down the cereal aisle, the kid's like, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. So there was actually a huge crackdown on that. Again, I don't know the specifics, but that's a great point that I don't know what the point was, but it was interesting to me. I apologize. Randy, I hope you feel better. I know that back. How's the back coming along, buddy? Trenton, great job. Thanks for watching. Brady, everybody, Jeff. Again, Tennille, repetitiveness is key. Absolutely. Consistency. I did a video of this the other day. Consistency is huge. If you're not consistent in your efforts, all this is irrelevant.
For naught.
You spend 3 to 5 days to knock out the avatar, knock out some great copy. If you're not consistent in your execution of that copy, you wasted your time.
And as a slight nugget on that, you need something on each one of your pieces of mail. If you're sending mailers or your whatever marketing you use, you need something. Oh, actually, this is a great point. You need something to tie all of your pieces together, because if you don't, you may as well have been 5 different investors sending 5 different pieces to them. If you're sending 5 pieces to somebody, you need something that's going to tie you, so they're like, oh, this is the one that sent it to me 3 weeks ago. For a perfect example, who was it? Was it Tennille that said that like a roofing company, all they need to see is RJ Roofing could just put a picture of the dog with the blue collar and I would know who it is, and the jingle would pop into my head. Having that thing to tie all of your pieces together is ultimately important, whatever that thing is. And that's why a lot of people find success with putting a picture of themselves on their piece. That's what, the Me Too marketers will see, oh, well, this guy has a picture on there, I'm going to put a picture on there. Well, they're not realizing the psychology behind that is so that, one of the reasons is that as time goes on, this person receiving the mail from you will realize it was also your pieces of mail that they've been seeing for the past 6 months.
Michael Bailey, first time watching the show, really enjoyed it. Hey, thank you so much for finding us. To tie in what we're doing today, would love to know how you found out about us. Would love to know how you came about our videos. If you're still watching, please drop that in the comments. On that, if wherever y'all are from, let us know where you're from, just because that's always fun. Networking is key, obviously. The man, the myth, the legend, that was you.
I am.
Elizabeth, that's awesome that you learned so much. I've actually never seen you on the show either, so thank you for watching. It was her first time too? Oh, well, Elizabeth, Daniel, thank you for finding us. Same thing to you. How did you come across what we're doing here? Would love to know how you found us. Should we put business headshots on our business cards?
I'll be frank, it looks like you're an attractive girl. Yes. I'm sorry, but that's it's marketing.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
In real estate, I think real estate is very much so the wild, wild west of a lot of aspects. We're very behind the curve on certain aspects of things, but we're also way ahead of the curve in certain aspects, especially in real estate investing. Regardless of wherever the country you may think we are, whatever the media says, how many issues we have, in the real estate investing world, nobody cares who you are, what lifestyle choices you make, what background you have. If you have a deal, that's all they care about. Yeah. And that's what I find so cool and so inspiring about this industry of real estate investing. No one gives a shit your race, your sexual preference, your sexual identity, none of that. Nobody cares if you're rich, you're poor, whatever you think would make somebody not like you. Even if somebody doesn't like you, it doesn't matter. If you have a deal, that's all that matters. So that's what I find very inspiring and very cool about this industry. Anyway, I know Grant's like, I want to leave.
One note on the marketing thing and with your business cards, make sure, like I put a headshot on there too. I mean, I'm not an attractive girl. It's not saying only put a headshot if you're an attractive girl, but especially if you are, like, it does help. But one of the big things is make sure that like the back half is blank, or you've got a lot of white space on the card, because people do want to write notes about you on your business card. And so if you've got this really beautifully designed black card with double embossed this and that, it goes in the trash eventually, because what happens is after the networking event, they pull out 20 business cards and they were unable to write down why they were supposed to care about you on that business card, and it goes in the trash because they can't remember who you were.
And on that, just because we're talking about the business card, is you need to do something if you're at a networking event where there's 500 people, like the August 14th DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup, or in San Antonio on August 20th. At the Carver Community College, anyway, our meetups. You know, you go to those, you want to do something that stands out. So if you have a picture, yeah, you're probably going to stand out. But to Grant's point, you have to have the ability to write on it. But if you say if you have time, pull out your phone, add them on Facebook. Pull out your phone, add them on LinkedIn.
I usually, like, when I hand somebody my business card, I just smack them like real hard. I'm just like, and they're like, oh, that's the guy that smacked me real hard whenever I got my business card from him. Find
their mobile and just immediately text them with who you are. Yeah, don't you just love it when I do that to you? But, you know, you want to find a way to stand out. You know, immediately text them, immediately email them, find them on LinkedIn, find them on Facebook. I don't think Instagram is really that big a deal. But anyway, so therefore, let's get to some free stuff.
Let's see how close you got to getting a second shirt. How many? Oh, 189! Oh.
All right, so first giveaway, is going to be a book from Propelio. From Propelio, not... Yes!
Ryan Harper!
I want a book. Yeah. Danny will be like, no. I like this song.
Heard About You from Hilco. Did you hear about it from the... Oh, wait, no, I was thinking Joe.
Jeff Steele. You win the book. Which book was it?
Start With Why.
Start With Why. So...
And guys, don't forget to go check me out at CreativeCashFlow.com. Follow and like me on Facebook as well. I mean, I try to get real information out there for you guys in all kinds of different ways. So check us out on that. Elizabeth cheating with just some periods out here, trying to get in the comments.
Yeah, so is Daniel. All right, now we're giving some T-shirts, and let me show. So we got Propelio.
How many problems do you have?
And then we got the whole, 99 problems, but leads ain't one. Elizabeth Daniel, look at that, first time watching and getting a free T-shirt. Man, that's like coming to our events and going, man, this is what real estate investor events are like? The answer is no, but our events are cool. But yes, Elizabeth Daniel, what you need to do is hit me up with a DM, send me your address and your phone number. And no, I don't want to get creepy on you, but just give me your address and phone number. I'm tagged somewhere in here, and I'll send you a T-shirt. Oh, also, obviously your T-shirt size. Did we get to 200? Ooh, 203. Boom. Doing another shirt. Let me write Elizabeth Daniel down so I don't forget.
Mitchell Benson.
He's
Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Tells you what kind
I saw. So Mitchell Benson, please again send me a direct message, a DM, slide in them DMs with your address, your phone number, and your shirt size, and we'll get that out to you soon. That's it for us. Again, if you're in the DFW market or fairly close, next Monday, August 6th, we have our mastermind. We don't typically talk about it that much just because up until this point, it's been kind of, we don't promote it just because we can only have about 30 people. That being said, we've moved locations to a building in Irving that's right beside City Hall. It's in the event details, but no frills, no agenda. All we do is talk shop, BYOB, BYO food. Come hang out with us and talk real estate. The week after that, August 14th, we have our big DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup. We've got people that are coming in from all over Texas to come hang out with us. We got about 500, 600 people come to that. And then on August 20th, we'll be in San Antonio. That's what I got from Propelio. What about you, sir?
Just love me. Make me matter. Make me matter in your life more than just, I'm just kidding. CreativeCashFlow.com. Check me out at CreativeCashFlow.com. I do full education from start to finish. And
Daniel's he hates my masterminds.
Yeah, so check me out at CreativeCashFlow.com. I do education. I do a live Q&A for all of my students every Monday night. Here's my why. If you are an investor that wants more, you will get it at CreativeCashFlow.com. We are there to give you more than what you have found anywhere else. So check us out.
Cool. That's about it. Again, here giving a book away. Tomorrow. So this video, comment away, like Creative Cash Flow, hashtag Grant Lee's love to, hashtag Ryan has love to spare.
All right, let's leave.
Okay, bye. Slow mo high five out.